Good morning to you all. And now we are beginning with yet another chapter of our journey further. And this time we are coming with a very beautiful skin case by none other than our veteran senior doctor, Dr. Shobha Shah. She is going to present this very tough chronic skin ailment solved with homeopathic medicine, Texas Bacata, which is lesser used remedy. And she will explore this remedy through rubrics, and let us hear from her how she has solved this case. Okay, over to Dr. Shobha Shah.
Thank you, Aditi. Is it visible? Screen visible?
Yes, screen is visible, Shobha. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello, friends. So, with gratitude to all my teachers, I will start with this case. It is a case of a 28-year-old school teacher from Madhya Pradesh, and she came with a chief complaint of severe fungal infection. She had extensive red, big fungal patches all over her body, on both her extremities, on the hands near the elbows, on the thighs, on the lower legs, under the breast folds, in the both the inguinal folds, and they were very big patches. And she was really troubled by this fungal infection. She was suffering from this infection since last 3 years, since her third pregnancy, and she was not relieved by any treatment of the dermatologist. She also took around 30 injections for it, but without any relief. So the thing is, when she came to us, she had already taken this 3 years treatment. Now, when I started with the homeopathy, it was almost first 3 months I could not give her relief. And it was going very tough for me. Like, there were few things which I was just not able to understand, that whatever she was saying. So, one thing I had understood when she said ki her complaint had started around in the third pregnancy. So I thought that her stress is somewhere, around her third pregnancy. But what was, I understood her stress also, she told me, but I was not able to really put it into the rubrics or into match it with any materia medica image, and I was not able to conclude. So then I thought over ki now there were some say of the patient which was like little surprising for me, and it was little unexpected also for me. So then I thought ki let me concentrate on that, and then I focused on to that. So what was coming up was ki she had a joint family of 12 members, and her problem was like, that her mother-in-law wanted a baby boy from her. Now she already has 3 daughters. Patient, she herself was fine when she got the first daughter. For her, it was over. But her mother-in-law wanted a baby boy. And patient couldn't tell no to this mother-in-law. So she yielded to mother-in-law, and she went ahead with the second and third pregnancy. So like when she told me, I was very much this thing, that what kind of yielding is this? Because this is not like for any small wish of, mother-in-law or anything materialistic or any other wish, emotional need, wish of the mother-in-law, that she's yielding to it. This is like something for the pregnancy, that she was fine with first. Still, she went ahead with the second pregnancy. She got a second daughter. Mother-in-law still wanted a baby boy. Still, she went ahead with the third pregnancy. So for me, I felt that this was very much pathological. To go ahead with the pregnancies one after another was something very pathological. Then what she told me was that when she got the third daughter, she cried a lot. So I asked her that, why was it that you also wanted a baby boy? So she said, yeah, even I wanted. I also had expected that I will get a baby boy, but I did not get baby boy, and I was very much disappointed, and she was into the tears. So, but she did not want a baby boy for herself. She wanted baby boy for mother-in-law. So what she said is ki if I had got a baby boy, then there would be a full stop to the pregnancy. But because I did not get a baby boy, my pregnancy kept on continuing after the second and after the third, and now even the mother-in-law is expecting her to plan for the fourth time. So what patient was feeling that, she is suffering wrongly. because she's not getting a baby boy without any fault of hers, and like, you know, because there are daughters are born and the son is not born, she has to continue herself to for the mother-in-law and go ahead with the pregnancy. So with that, she was very much angry and irritated on mother-in-law, on her second and third daughter. Now mother-in-law is still wanting her to plan for the fourth time, and now this time the patient isn't ready at all. So mother-in-law, what happens is, like, you know, when the third daughter is around 2 years old, then mother-in-law started taunting her or putting little pressure onto her, you know, that she should go ahead with a pregnancy. But the patient was not ready. So patient talked to her husband. The husband is telling her, okay, you speak to mother-in-law, no, you tell her that you are not ready. But she is saying she's just unable to tell this to mother-in-law. So, but at the same time, she was feeling, you know, that pressure and that taunting of the mother-in-law, which I felt that she was feeling that the mother-in-law is exploiting her, you know, being exploited. Like, because what exploitation is like, it is, she's unfairly used by others for their benefit. So for the benefit of the mother-in-law, because mother-in-law wanted a baby boy, so she's unnecessarily putting pressure onto the patient. And that is how I felt, you know, that patient had this feel of, you know, being wrong suffered and being exploited. So again, patient's concern also was that what if again for the fourth time, if there is a daughter, it's a big expense on education and growing up children. To have a baby girl or boy is not in her hand, and in that hope of having a son, she can't keep on going ahead with pregnancy one after another. So she's again worried about their children's future, their financial expenses, and their health also. So whatever she was saying was quite objective, reasonable, isn't it? Then what happened was, just a minute. So her sanskars and temperament, they did not allow her to, like, you know, disobey mother-in-law or revolt against the mother-in-law. And I was also feeling it very much during the interview. So that, you know, okay, what is the problem? You have to just talk it out with your mother-in-law. You make her sit and talk it out. Tell her whatever it is, you know, that you are not ready for it. But it was very difficult for her. And she kept on saying during the interview, कि नहीं, I will not be able to tell her. मैं नहीं बोल सकती हूँ. And at few other instances, she kept on saying कि मुझे करना तो पड़ेगा ही ना. मैं नहीं करूंगी तो और कौन करेगा, मैं ना नहीं बोल सकती. Like, you know, I was really trying to understand, and I had got stuck in the clinical interview at this point, that why is she not able to understand, why is she not able to express and tell. And then slowly then I understood that, oh, this is her helplessness. She was really feeling helpless, and that she was not able to tell and express it to the mother-in-law. So if we understand the helplessness, the dictionary meaning also, it is like, it is inability to defend oneself or to help oneself or anybody else. And because of that, she was feeling helpless and she was not able to communicate to the mother-in-law. So patient is worried about the health and future of even the third daughter, as that third daughter is falling ill very frequently despite all her treatment. So since the child was 5 months old, this mother had joined her job. And since that time, the third daughter has started falling ill. So I asked her a question, can you concentrate when you are in school or your mind is in daughter? So the reply that I got was, again, I was taken aback and was surprising for me. She said, no, I feel relaxed once I'm in the school. I love my job. I get very fresh when I'm at school. I like meeting, talking and laughing with all in the school. I'm working since my first child. Both the elder daughters adjusted very well. It is only the third daughter who is not able to adjust. And I can manage both the house and the school. So then what is the problem in working? The mother-in-law is also good. She looks after daughters very well. Even the husband and father-in-law are supportive. So this was can't read, huh? Just a minute. So what I felt when you have a small baby in the house, no, then that time what happens is the atmosphere of the house is very lively. And usually it is seen that the working mothers, like, they wait to reach home and they hug their child, love their child. Whereas I felt that I did not see that type of feeling in this patient. I felt it was really lacking in this patient. And patient doesn't have even that realization the daughter is suffering because she's missing the mother's love. This because since that time, this third daughter also is falling ill again and again, but the mother is not realizing about it. So I felt that there is when I tried to understand this from the rubrics in our Materia Medica, I found that there is an indifference to the suffering of others, which I found which is very apt for matching to this patient. And I felt that the patient's attachment with this daughter was also somewhere missing. So I felt it was like a detachment, and where the patient lacked mother's love. And there was a time in the interview where patient also felt that I wished that this third daughter wasn't alive. I wouldn't have suffered all this. So that was also something very this thing. It is not easy for any mother to say this, but then this mother was also saying it out of her pain, So, but somewhere I felt that her sensitivity in this aspect is lacking little bit. She is having aversion to the family members and the irritability to the family and the detached type of feeling. This has been seen in the Texas Baccata. When we study Texas Baccata, we come across such feelings, such state of the patient, which was matching with our patient. Then another reason patient doesn't want to leave job was because of income from job that she earned. She felt that she has 3 daughters. What will happen if I also will leave the job and sit at home? There is a family of 12 people and only one kirana shop is not sufficient enough as source of income. So even if she feels stressed and burdened with lot of work at home, because she had to do all the work of this 12 people at home and then go to the school and do the job. Still, she was not wanting to leave the job because of her anxiety for money matters. Another thing came to me as a surprise was, like, when patient said that my kids say that, Mom, when you have why are you staying in this small house when you have a big house, sofa set, car at Nana Nani's house? Let's go there. This was about when she started telling this. No, I was surprised. Is she having another house, another big house? But what she was saying was she was telling about her parents' home. But the way she was saying it was full of pride, and as if she was talking about her own house, big house, whereas she's married since almost 10 years and staying here. Whereas still she was feeling as if it was her big house and she owned that very much. So here, what we see is we can see the shades of the egotism and the delusional wealth of Texas Baccata. The Texas Baccata is also having that affinity for materialism. They love to have that luxurious life, branded things. And it is said that, in one lecture that I learned, it is they feel wise because they feel that they are a princess and they deserve it. So the way she was telling also as if it was her big house, and she herself also had this desire, but that is why she wanted to earn money. It was there in the interview also. She said she also wants a big house, but it is not possible at present. So patient's parents, her brother and her sister-in-law, they are living in Bangalore, and the patient feels shy to take all her 3 daughters there. She said that it can't happen that if I go, I just go with one kid. And if I go, all will go. But when children go there and they see big house, they run around, they do a lot of masti. And during last vacation when they went, they jumped on the sofa and they tore it off. So sister-in-law was unhappy and there was some issue over it. So patient felt very much ashamed and her honor was wounded. So she declared to the children that now onwards we will not go over there for another 5 years, So I asked her that what hurt you most in this incident? And she said, "Itne bacche hai to bol diya." Like, she felt that pressure of having many children on her mind. So I asked her, do you repent having many kids? And she said yes. And that time again she was like into the weeping and into her tears. So friends, this is the case of a Texas baccata. And while explaining the case, I have tried to tell you about the different rubrics. So to conclude, like, when if we see the Texas baccata, like, the core conflict of this patient is about the delusion wrong suffered and the exploited sensation of. At the same time, this Texas baccata patient who is into that yielding disposition, and that is why they, out of that helplessness feeling and the yielding disposition, they are just unable to move ahead or get their things, done, and that is why they continue feeling being wrong suffered. But at the same time, they are also into the objective reasonable, and they, whatever they will say, you yourself will feel that what they are saying is quite reasonable. Also, we see the shades of, the wealth, egotism, the selfishness, the self-centeredness, the self-centeredness, and honor wounded. The honor is also wounded because of their ego into the Texas baccata. Also, this shade of being detached, which is very much seen as in Texas baccata, and in this patient also it was clearly available that they are very much inconsiderate about the others. They are very much indifferent towards the suffering of the others, and they have aversion towards the family. They are irritability, and they are detached, and this is all because they are too much into their own self, and that is why they are dictatorial, dictating things and being with their own self. So when I tried to repertorize these rubrics, the remedy which is covering all these rubrics is Texas baccata. So many a times it happens, friends, that we see in our repertory table some remedies reflecting which is a lesser known remedy. But then if we are not because it is less known, we do not know how much knowledge about it, so we do not explore it. But if we learn this remedy, it is easier for us to prescribe and help patients. So then I prescribed Texas baccata. And what happened is, so for the first 3 months, I had given her different other medicines, like I had given her sepia, I had given her pulsatilla, and I had given her staphysagrina. I think staphysagrina because of her honor wounded, and sepia, which is coming the most closest, and because of the yielding and the dancing and these things, and pulsatilla also, I think from the yielding and dancing, I had given her pulsatilla also, but without any relief. There was no relief. So after that, when I restudied the case and I gave her Texas baccata. So when I gave her Texas baccata, 30 in a first single dose was given. And in the first week itself, the patient came and said that her itching was better by 30 to 40%. And she started feeling better. So slowly, her infection was getting better. But the single dose was not, holding up much because of the extensive lesions which she had and which was there over a period of last 3 years. So then I went into to give her 30 multiple doses, I think 33 doses weekly, then 7 doses weekly. Then when I felt that the effect of the 30 is coming to its status quo, that time I raised it to 200. And 200 was given into one dose or 3 doses weekly, not more than that repetition I required. And I gave this treatment for about 14 months. And in a gap of that 14 months, all her lesions cleared completely. And one I had required only in last 1 or 2 months. But otherwise 30 and 200 could help her very much. But all the lesions completely disappeared. So that is how the Texas baccata helped very, very nicely to this patient. So this is what was the case of Texas baccata. Yeah, so I will like to invite Anita now to add on some few more things about the Texas vaccata. Yes, Anita.
Yeah,
Can you please
thank you, Shubham. It was a really,
explain more in about Texas?
yeah, it was really a wonderful case, and it's always a pleasure to learn new remedies. So we will try to explore it a little more. We are trying to keep this short because it's easy to, watch shorter videos rather than, going for longer videos. But still, we have tried to cover up all the information. So, first thing is, in this remedy, the core rubric which I feel is delusion nesting as if she is. So what is the meaning of nesting? Like in birds, it is to make a nest for laying eggs or to protect eggs and young ones. And once
Anita,
they...
Anita,
Yeah.
full screen. Can you make full screen?
Yeah. Once, actually, I will not be able to read. That is why I've kept.
Okay, go ahead.
So, yeah. And once the young ones grow, they leave the nest. And, even the parents will push them so that they discover their own wings and start flying. So in other meaning is like in humans, it is the urge to clean, organize, over an overwhelming desire to get your home ready for your new baby. So we have seen an experience also, if a baby is going to come, people, try to make changes in their houses, get new furniture, baby bed, baby cot and all that. So this is the urge, and they buy things which will be used for the baby. So this urge, when it is very strong, then they used to predict that now labor is close. And other meaning which I got, it is very much applicable here also, where, they call this nesting relationship. Nesting relationship is when a couple is going for a divorce and they have kids. So they try to make the children comfortable for future when they will be, staying separate. So in the interim period, what they do is they co-parent the child. So they take turns to stay with the with children. They make them comfortable. They share all the responsibilities. So it is like, they work like a team, complementing each other, though they have their own personal differences. So they work like a team and they help cooperate with each other and try to maintain harmony. So this type of, arrangement is basically for the security of children, safety of children, so that they are made ready for future. And it is for their comfort. And what is important is that it is temporary arrangement. So Texas vaccata also wants to, make their children world ready to face the world. And once they grow up, they can be pushed out to discover their own potential. Now, other rubrics which come close to it are maternal instinct exaggerated. Now, maternal instinct exaggerated is like caring of the mother. So this is the instinct that drives mother to respond to child's need. Like if a child is crying, mother will know why the child is crying. So they will run and fulfill their needs. Like if the child is hungry, they will feed. If they need some cleaning, they will clean them. So in Hindi, we call it as matrutva. So here the focus is more on caring for the child. And exaggerated means it is more. So in this rubric, sepia is there. And sepia comes very close to Texas vaccata. Even in this case, we saw in repertorization, second remedy was sepia. Now, other rubric which comes closest to desire to beget and to have children. Now, this particular lady doesn't have desire. She is trying to do it for, satisfying her mother-in-law. So, but if we see like rubric which comes close to nesting is desire to beget and to have children, because they have love for children. So in that rubric, lac humanum is there. Now I will take journey of Taxus Baccata in short. So journey is from dancing with remarkable sense of rhythm to unsympathetic and unscrupulous. Unscrupulous is they lack morals. They don't feel anything. So in the first phase we see there is delusion wealth. They feel that they have infinite knowledge. Comprehension is easy for abstract. Now this means that right brain is more active. They are more instinctive. Then dancing with marked sense of rhythm. Dancing with marked sense of rhythm is that they can, predict what the other person needs now, and they can maintain rhythm with that, and they can fulfill that desire. Egotism is there. Harmony, sensation of. So they think that they are working in harmony with people around them, and they try to help people. They are objective, reasonable, and they feel that they are better than others. So this is their, strength. Now, if we see along with this strength, they also have their vulnerability or insecurity. So there is clinging, carried desire to be, anger when refused help, means they need help. Now they help others and they also expect others to help them when they need. So this is the main other core of the Taxus Baccata. And they are in anxiety money matters also. So as I described, delusion nesting, like they want to create a secure space, cozy, full of warmth, and they want to work as a team. Like in this particular case also, mother-in-law is taking care of the children. Though, she is pressurizing patient to go for pregnancy, to have a son, but still they also cooperate. They take up the responsibility. When patient is away, mother-in-law is taking care of the children. Husband and father-in-law are also very cooperative. So they work as a team in fulfilling all the family responsibilities. So because of this, to maintain this harmony, they also yield. So there is cooperation. Now they are affectionate, sympathetic, and want to help others. And this is also reflected in their dreams of caretaking, dreams of fondness of children, anxiety others for, cares and worries full of others for, and they also have social responsibility. So this is the bond they develop with people around them. Now, when they are disillusioned, when they don't get that understanding, or they don't get help when they need, so that time they become, the downfall starts, the morbidity starts. And that time, they feel that IPR, people are selfish, they are not helping, and they go through the feeling of wrong suffered. They feel exploited, and there is anger at not being helped, anger on injustice, and anger roused when sleep from. Now, what does that mean? Like earlier when they were living with people, helping them and all that, that was their phase, that they believed that world is very, very good and we should help each other. But when they get this negative experience of not being helped, no one, helps them when they need, that time they are roused from sleep that world is not so good. And then they feel angry. So then there is a conflict between higher consciousness and worldly existence. Higher consciousness is that you are also, living for the society. You are taking up social responsibility and trying to help everyone. You are rising above your selfishness, and you are thinking of other people also. You are sensitive to suffering of others also. But now when you realize that this worldly existence is not that easy, or people are not like me, then there is a conflict between higher consciousness and worldly existence. There is indignation at the misdeeds of others, then wounded honor, like we saw in this particular case also, disgust, indifferent to suffering of others. Now they become indifferent to suffering of others, and they go into help aversion to. Now they don't want to help anyone. They get detached. They become unfeeling. And there is aversion to family, irritability to family. They have aversion to usual housework. They go into indifference, selfishness, unsympathetic, and responsibility aversion too. And this is like delusion sliding down the spiral. So it is coming down as in a spiral. So everything, whatever values they carried, whatever love they had, it is just sliding down. This is the phase of disillusionment with family and world. So this is in short the crux of Taxus baccata. Now close coming remedy is sepia. Now when you are studying a less known remedy, if you try to correlate it with a remedy which you really know and then try to focus on how to differentiate that, then it becomes a very easy approach. So whenever you get a case and you get some characteristics of the well-known remedy and some points which are not fitting into that, then it becomes easy to, think of close coming remedies. So now we see the difference between sepia and Taxus baccata. So sepia has elements from abuse, sexual abuse and sexual excess. Now, what is sexual abuse? Sexual abuse is the difference between man and woman, the gender inequality. And because of this, because of gender, they have to suffer from abuse. Like we have seen that women are abused always in our society. So that point, from that point of view, and sexual excesses, they do too many things for the family. It is sexual pleasure in doing lot of things. Then they are hyperactive, they are in affectation, and they cannot demonstrate affection. And they reject affection when they go into indifference or when they become very poor. Then there is ambition, loss for fame and money. They become anarchist at that time, and anger suppressed. They consolation, aggravation, and anger is about past events. So they are basically hurt in past and they carry this hurt and then that anger which is suppressed. Now both the remedies are in yielding. But the, difference lies where sepia is in cheerful when thunders and lightning, and actions are contradictory to intentions. Cheerful when thunders and lightning means whenever there is a family problem, that time also they will face it with lot of, cheer, like with courage. And then their adaptation is action contradictory to intention. So we generally hear this say in sepia when they say, if I don't do, who will do? So I have to do. So action, even though they don't feel like, but they will do it. Now, as against this, we see Taxus. In Taxus, there is no domination, there is no abuse, but then there is, elements from honor wounded. And they feel exploited. Though the situation is not of exploiting it, we have seen that for male child in our Indian society, it is very, very common, but still very few ladies will feel exploited. So this is the exploited sensation of Taxus baccata. And they have anger about not being helped, and they have anger about selfishness of others. And they have anger when aroused, like I described, and injustice. Then there is anxiety, health and money matters. And there is carried desire to be. So as compared to sepia, Taxus baccata is more dependent. They are chaotic, chill during. Whereas sepia is cheerful when thunders and lightning. Chill is again a downfall or a downward phase where there is a lot of stress. Then there is clinging in Taxus, and problem is conflict between higher consciousness and material existence. So shall I do my social role, helping others, or I should think only about myself? This is the feeling which they carry when there is conflict between higher consciousness and material existence. Now, other thing is sepia in the last stage or in the downward phase has delusion alone in graveyard, delusion family will starve. So even if they are sick with this feeling that family will starve, they will get up and they will cook for the family. They will take care of their children. And Sepia, as we know, is a worn out. She is a washerwoman. So she is in delusion poor and delusion unfit for life, and they have despair about their miserable existence. They don't have any hope that their situation will change. They will get love, they will get appreciation, or they will get rest. So, and then they develop in this poor state or in this weak and worn out state, they become indifferent to family, to relations, to husband, and they want to give up their responsibility. It is only want, they don't give up. And in the presentation, if we see, there is elegance want. As against that, Taxus baccata is in foppish, elegant, dandy, and harmony sense. And they are in delusion appreciated, she is not. Delusion nesting, selfish others are. And Taxus baccata has lot of ego. And they feel they are better than others. They have infinite knowledge. They have, it is as against delusion poor of Sepia. They are in delusion wealth. They feel they are taller in status, not in height. And they are into delusion wrong suffered and hindered. So in this case also we see that because of 3 daughters, now she feels that her growth is hindered. She cannot buy a bigger house now because she cannot afford. She has to fulfill the basic needs of her daughters. And that is how she also goes into exploited sensation and indifference to suffering of others. And Taxus baccata is in responsibility aversion to. Sepia wants to give up responsibility after getting tired of fulfilling all the responsibilities. But Taxus baccata is in responsibility aversion to, and fear that duty they will be unable to do the duty. They will fail. So these are the differences between Sepia and Taxus baccata. With this, I think we have covered it. If you have any, if anybody wants to add more, please add.
No, I think it was well covered. Shobha gave a very nice journey through the case with her analysis and correlating with rubrics. And you have largely covered the journey of taxes through rubrics and differentiated with Sepia. I think it's beautifully covered. Both of you have done a very nice and complimentary job.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Nice, Anita. Thank you so much.
So you want to add anything more, Dr. Aditi?
No, I think it's been covered well, and let us leave the journey to be explored further by each and every spectator of the video and explore it in their own way.
Yes. So thank you very much, Shobha, for the beautiful case, a wonderful follow-up, and introducing to all of us a new remedy, a dimension which you have also presented from your learnings through various teachers. And thank you very much, Anita, for presenting it so well through rubrics and differentiating because Sepia comes so closely. Thank you once again. And friends, we will meet shortly again and again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.